Well, it's that time again. Welcome to another episode of Rimshots with Sean right here on the Rock Rage Radio Network, brought to you by Barstools and Bandtalk. I have with me Jacob Giaimo, all the way from sunny Los Angeles, California. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Sean. How are you?
Oh, I can't complain. It was cold as heck here today, but we got through it. I'm sure you guys had great weather out there.
It's actually kind of overcast today, but it's for the most part very good.
But
I have no complaints.
you can still wear shorts, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah. Okay. So
always.
that's the
You know
that's
how
the
it
end of
goes.
the envy set here in the
Yeah,
interviews.
yeah, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Gina sent me the info.
Yeah.
You've got all kinds of stuff on the go. Tell us what's up.
Yeah, so I've got, music out. Sorry, I gotta turn my thing off real quick. Yeah, I've got music out currently and came out with a new record. I believe it came out in February or January, but that was called Arts District. So that was a full length studio album. It was my fourth one that I've done. I started writing and recording music, when I was in college. When I was a freshman in college, that was when I was 18. Now I'm 20, 27, about to be 28. So I'm getting to that 10 year decade mark of writing and recording my own music and everything like that. And loving it more than ever. I play a lot of live gigs and shows here locally. I grew up in Orlando, Florida, so I played a lot there as well, and that's kind of where I learned the ropes and got the bug for being a musician, playing live and writing songs. So yeah, that's kind of what's new with me. Obviously recording now, not obviously, but I am recording new music now and looking to put out a single here coming in the next month or so. So looking forward to that. That's kind of what's going on with me.
So how did you wind up from Orlando to LA?
Yeah, so I went to Florida State University, and I had, during my youth, I had the pleasure of coming to California a couple times with my dad on business and stuff, and loved it here. It's obviously there's a lot to love. The weather's amazing, like we were saying, and there's a great, art and entertainment scene out here.
Yeah.
And I tried out, not that I lived there, but I visited like a place like Nashville to see if I wanted to maybe move there. Nashville at the time when I was coming out of college was quite daunting to me. I went there and everyone is so talented and on such a high level. I kind of felt like I needed to develop on maybe a less intimidating uh in a less intimidating scene. And now, I feel like I've really, really grown up as an artist. I feel so comfortable on stage. I feel very, very comfortable in my ability to write and everything like that. And I don't think I could have done that in a place other than LA. I have great, friends and family here as well. So it's a great place for me to be, and it's proven a great place for my development as well.
Yeah, Nashville comes up a lot. And there's some people that I know very well here that have been there and they try to do something there. I heard a great, I guess, description of Nashville. You don't make it in Nashville, the town makes you. And
Yeah.
basically, you go there, you sink or swim. You have to pay your dues, and it's like none I've ever heard. Like, you don't show up there and be the best guy. You still go down to Broad Street and play for tips, and you do all that good stuff, right? So, I'm assuming that was your experience when you were there.
Yeah, it was. I even played a gig there, and just kind of felt it out, and it went really well. Listen, I was young at the time. I still am, relatively young, but it's one of those things that, um, I was just so impressed. And this is nothing against Nashville. I was just like, I kind of started music later in life. I played guitar young, and I sang, in church and stuff like that, but I never really made it my priority. I think just growing up, I was more shy and more scared to maybe to like to show that I loved music and that I want like this is something I love to do. I think maybe it's like a young boy thing, like singing is like maybe perceived as not a masculine thing to do or something. I think I just felt kind of shy about it. And then when I got older and I went to college, I actually did a semester in London, which was like a really great thing for me because I kind of was able to get out of my comfort zone and meet and be with people that had no idea who I was, previously. And I was just like, it just kind of clicked for me. I was like, I really want to do this. I was, gearing towards, really itching to want to be a musician. So it was the perfect storm for me. And then, yeah, in a place like Nashville, listen, I have so much respect for a place like that. It's so music forward, and music is my passion. I would never rule out living there one day,
Sure.
and trying my hand at that scene. But everything worked out the way it was meant to for me. I have no regrets in that regard. But total
So,
respect for that place. Yeah,
so in terms of your tunage, if somebody's watching
yeah,
this for the first time and they haven't heard you, but they want to go check you out,
yeah.
and I hate to do this, but if you were to do a couple comparables in terms of artists, who might they be?
Yeah, it's always a tough question because, I would like to think I'm like my own individual, but I think I've taken a lot of inspiration and I've gotten this a lot that I sound similar to the singer or like Young the Giant. I don't know if you're familiar with Young the Giant.
I've heard them. Yep.
George Ezra, who's a, English singer-songwriter. And, the first like artist that I really was like I listened to, I was like I would love to emulate who this guy is Bon Iver, who is a singer-songwriter from Wisconsin. And so I think I very or at a young age really took to like emotional singing, like singer-songwriter types like that
Yep.
were just, saying about being sad almost. And I just found it so moving. And I was like, I really just want to kind of maybe do that. And then I realized that I have a very good knack for writing more rock songs, like more upbeat, like tempo songs as well. That's what I was, raised on.
Sure.
And yeah, I kind of just like made this blend of me being able to do both. But yeah, I would say Young the Giant and George Ezra are like people that I maybe sound like mostly.
Well, and I mean, I'm up to over 740 some episodes of this podcast in 5 years, and
Congratulations.
I've met one or two of my heroes because I'm a drummer, and I've got to say, hey, I feel like I owe you some money for stealing licks and stealing chops
Oh,
because
yeah.
there's only so many good ones to go around, and why not borrow? So I always like to ask, just because the way people are these days, right? The attention span is so low that you
Yeah.
have to entice them with something that's going to get them to go and investigate. So um, when you go out and you do your shows, are you full band situation, or are you set up to do like a solo act? You do a little bit of both. How do you approach that?
I do both. I totally started out when I was in college gigging, playing solo. And then when I was maybe a senior in college, I've been doing it for a few years. I found a band that I played with. And then when I moved to LA, I was again doing the solo thing just because I didn't know anyone. And then, maybe after a year, I was able to meet people in the music scene and then, put a band together for when I play, bigger stages and want, a bigger sound to go with it.
Sure.
So yeah, I love doing both. That's I'm very comfortable in a band setting, or bands are great because you're in it together kind of thing. When you're solo, it sometimes feels like, okay, it's all on me, but in a way that it's something that I'm also comfortable with because I'm like, listen, if I, screw up, it's on me. I know how to fix it or whatever. So,
Well,
yeah,
here's the thing. A lot of well, I shouldn't say a lot, but some solo performers are so used to doing their own thing up there with an acoustic guitar, free form, no
yeah.
metronome. When they get in a band situation, they struggle because they can't pull in the dynamics. They can't do, different sorts of things. So obviously, you doing both, I guess, lends itself to keeping up with all that.
Yeah, I think, and listen, it was not the smoothest transition into playing with a band. That just comes with reps and being, rehearsing and practicing and then getting on stage and doing it a few times with a band live to feel like, okay, now I know how to navigate and like command this space as well. I remember feeling very, uncomfy at the beginning playing, like singing and performing without my guitar, and doing songs like just like being the singer.
Yeah.
That was like a whole new learning experience for me. But yeah, and now it feels natural, but it's definitely a learning curve. And I would just, recommend to any former, who likes to play music live is to try both, like learn how to spread out into both spaces and get comfortable because it's only going to make you a better performer, and that's always a good thing.
No question. And if as a singer, the first step to putting together a solid band is, right?
Drummer.
Get yourself a good drummer. And
Dude,
that,
I
see,
hear
he
you.
said it first. He said it first.
It's
If you take a,
true though.
Bruce Springsteen had Max Weinberg, and
Yeah.
Bon Jovi had Tico Torres, and you name it. The time that Rich Redmond that plays with Jason Aldean, who's a friend of
Yeah.
mine, is a monster. So get a good drummer. So there you go. You didn't hear it from me. You heard it
No,
from.
it's listen, I totally agree. When I have songs that I'm recording, I the first thing I do is send it to my drummer,
Yep.
and get him to work it, because then the song comes to life. Drumming is something that I cannot do. Maybe if I really practiced, I don't think I have the hand and feet like feet rhythm to do it, but I have so much respect for drummers, man. They're the heartbeat to every band.
And
It's
what's your drummer's name?
Carter Boyle.
Carter Boyle. I've never met yet, but
Watch
bud,
watch out for him. He's
yeah.
coming.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. We have solidified. He knows what's up, Carter Boyle. So you're in good hands. So you get
Yeah,
this
man.
song coming out in a month or so. You said
Yeah.
uh, you're working with Gina. I've done a lot of work with Gina. She's a heavy hitter. She knows what's up. What are your
Yeah.
plans for getting this thing out there? Is it going to be that and then another one like waterfall type thing, like what seems to be the typical popular way of doing things?
Yeah, I think it'll be the waterfall type situation. I when I first moved to LA, I kind of like always got the advice, play like release
Yeah,
singles, like do, and until you're got a strong following, do not do albums. I kind of always ignored that. Like I am just someone, listen, I play because I love music. It's
yeah,
something that I would love to do as a career full time. But I love albums. I like totally grew up listening to albums. I like the idea of storytelling. When I was younger, I was like, very curious as to what it'd be like to be an author. I loved books and reading and stories. So like I love the idea of albums. So that's how I roll with it. I like to, release one or two singles to preface an album. So
yeah.
yeah, I have other songs in the works that are going with it. So yeah, that's how it's gonna get rolled out. Obviously put it out on all streaming platforms, and then, you know, do as much boosting as I can and stuff, and try to
Absolutely.
get it out
Well,
to all
the
my
business is so
people.
frustrating these days. I mean, like, I've said it 1,000 times. Like, I wouldn't want to be getting into it today,
Hmm.
because it changes at the drop of a hat. As much as
Yeah.
people, I hear people, oh, I'm old school. Well, old school basically means you're going to get run over because if you're not willing to adapt, good luck. And I mean,
It's so
I
true.
grew up
Yeah.
old school, right? What are your goals? I mean, I'm assuming you set out with some goals for this next one that comes out. Yeah, did you have some of those that you sat down and you said, "This is what I want to see this thing do"?
Yeah, of course. I think, listen, the main thing with being an artist, I think it's just being yourself. I think like I've really learned that. It's how I perform, it's how I make music. I don't think people are going my goal is for every song to be the most listened to song I've ever put out. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? That is, I think, a goal that all musicians maybe have in like silence. I think
yeah,
you just are proud of your work, so you put it out, you want it to be heard, but at the same time, you want it to be heard by as many people as possible. It's goes with being a performer or something. You kind of have this like, I want the spotlight on me, or the eyes on me, the ears on me kind of thing.
absolutely,
Yeah, so I would like it to be listened to by as many people as possible, but that only comes with the quality of work. You know what I mean? And that comes with putting, all that you can into something.
yeah,
Because like today's listenership. They have so much music to listen to and so many options. And they're smart, like there's so many smart music listeners now. They could kind of see through, fake storytelling, and like, and that's the main thing I've like just learned over the years is, even if it's kind of like a weird message, just write what is honest to you. Um, because you never know who can relate to it. It's more often than not, the more honest it is, the more people will relate to it and then resonate with it and like it. So that's the goal is for it to be heard by a lot of people,
oh, absolutely,
simply.
man. You
Yeah.
gotta you gotta commit that goal. I mean, if you just start out there and hope for the best, you're probably not going to fail because you don't know what the best is, right? So if you don't put anything down as a goal. You hit 1,000 streams, man. That's you've hit it, right?
Yeah.
But just to do, I think a little bit better than the next one is not even a lofty goal. I think it's very very attainable. Last question, my friend, because we talked about attention spans and people don't have them.
Sure.
Where do they find you? Where do they look you up? Where do they go to get your music? Where do they find your shows, etc.?
Yeah, I would just go to my, my Instagram or my website at Jacob Giaimo, and Spotify, Apple Music, whatever you listen to, wherever you listen to music, I'm on all of them, and would love for you guys to give it a try. It's something that I'm, dearly passionate about. If you're ever looking for new music, I would give me a shot because I love it. You have to love your own music, and I
I've heard
certainly
it, and Gina knows my rule. I mean, I'll talk to anybody. I'll be less passionate about something if I don't like it, but she said it. I liked it. We will push it, and all
good.
the
Thank
best,
you.
my friend. Let's stay in touch. Let's see how it goes. We get summer coming up, so fingers crossed
Yeah,
it's going to be a good one.
absolutely, Sean. Thank you so much for your time and having me on.
You bet. We're back after
Sweet.
this.